Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome to the show, everybody. I got to tell you, I'm having, June, I'm having a great day. Rochelle, I'm having an awesome day, and it's great to have the both of you here. June Edward is our guest, and she's been on the show before, and by gum, she's going to be on the show again because she is nothing short of remarkable, and she's a relationship expert, and it helps when you can get messages from the other side to talk about people's relationship on the side and other things that she does. June, first of all, Rochelle, it's nice to see you again.
Thank you. Yes, I had to leave that interview a little fast to take a phone call, but I made sure that I was here. June, I absolutely love everything about you and the work that you do, so I wouldn't miss this for anything. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's good to see you both again.
And I did mention to June that when you were taking the phone call, I said, well, I hope she makes it back. She's going to really be mad if she doesn't get to talk to you. And she said, oh, don't worry. She'll be here.
I'm here. She knew.
So June, first of all, I want to make sure that, and we're going to talk about this quite a little bit, I hope, and that is you got a special thing coming up here in the next week or so, and there are still tickets available and ways for you to go do it. If you would like to go meet June personally, go to have a cruise, do all that. Tell us about all of that you got going on.
So it's a 7-night, 8-day cruise retreat, and I'll be doing 4 courses. I'll be doing mediumship and psychic development. I'll be doing an introduction to the relationship mastery program. I'll be doing an introduction to the destiny cards with some mini readings there, and I'll be doing full mediumship and bringing through any of the loved ones that you'd like and teaching people how to do that for themselves. So you can go right to my website, juneedwood.com, to the event page. There are still cabins that are available. It's the Norwegian Epic, and it's going to be an epic cruise.
Yes, indeed. That's one of them big dang boats.
It is. And it's the Western Caribbean. So it's St. Thomas, St. John, Santo Domingo. Yeah.
Now, Rochelle, I've never been on a cruise. Have you been on a cruise?
I haven't, Kevin. Yeah. It's something I've always wanted to experience, but
yeah, it's a great way to travel. It really is. It's an inexpensive way to see a lot of places in the world. It's wonderful. I've probably been on 30 cruises. I love them.
That key word right there, the inexpensive. When I think of going on a cruise, I'm like, wow, I got to save up some money.
Well, if you were going to fly there directly and stay, it would be a lot more expensive, and you wouldn't get to see as many islands and do the things that you can do. And when you think of the fact that it includes all your food, all your entertainment, everything for that price, it's quite a deal.
Except for one itty bitty teeny weeny thing that my ex-wife found out is that the gambling, they give you a card, they do, and they let you take that card and you put it into the devices or you give it to the dealer, and then they take and then they put it on the card, but they don't tell you what the balance is until the end of the cruise. She almost didn't come home. She was scared to tell me.
They would have kept her in the kitchen doing dishes, right?
Yeah.
They didn't tell me that it was going to cost her, like $500 to get off the boat, unless they threw her off. So, but by and large, the food is great and it's free and it's all that kind of good stuff. So that's awesome.
It's a great time.
And
I'm guessing if it's in the Caribbean, you can probably see through the water, so it doesn't just look like pitch blackness scary.
No, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
And a name that I cannot pronounce says hello, family. And it's nice to... Rochelle, can you pronounce that name?
Sahiriyar is how I would think. Sahiriyar. Well, However you pronounce your name, hello, and we love you.
And thank you for allowing us to be in your family. So,
Yeah.
which
Oh, did he? Oh, he froze. I thought it was
It's
me.
not me this time.
Oh. I'm looking at the camera. I'm like, is it me? That's okay. Honestly, that never happened, so that's surprising. But I'm so
Yeah.
excited for you and this cruise. Like, I totally would want to be there and to go. I couldn't imagine how many people you're going to be able to touch in just such like a short, because really, if you think about it, there's so many people, and that's a week of time. So lots
Yeah.
of experience for
Yeah, it'll be a
you.
lot
And
of fun. Yeah.
yeah, and I've been practicing all of the techniques you taught me about how to protect my energy.
Very good. How are you
Um,
feeling? You look wonderful.
oh, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
glowing.
Oh, thank you. I definitely feel lots better. And I think the biggest thing I recognized, which I wasn't expecting, I'd like your input on this, is when we would when we talked about that, I started integrating those practices and the energy got stronger. There was more of it. But
Mhm.
then I it was very distinct on what I could allow or what I was feeling. It wasn't just like right off the bat of something I was like, why is this coming up? There was always a message and then there was the energy, but it was very much more frequent. Is that normal?
It is, and you're always in
Okay.
control. Yeah.
Yeah.
The more that gather, the higher the energy level. And depending on who's gathering, if an angel walks in, it just shoots through the roof, literally.
It does. It's
Yeah.
like being screamed at. That's what I tell
It's
Kevin.
wild.
Sometimes I'm being screamed at. Yeah. Yes.
All caps.
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, welcome back.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Welcome, Kevin.
I think I just got hacked.
Oh no.
Please don't say that. Don't speak that. It becomes real.
Well, then explain to me why we brought that gentleman in, who I've since blocked him. We brought that gentleman in, and then I was trying to take him off the screen, and the whole thing shut down.
Very odd.
Anything's
Well,
a
we know next time
possibility.
not to do that. Yep. Learn from the mistake.
Yes, indeed. Well, we try and be all inclusive to everybody. So, what were you two talking about? That was interesting. I missed that.
I was just telling her how I've been practicing the things that she taught me about protecting my energy and what I allow in. And I was just letting her know that it's gotten so much stronger and my vibration has gone higher, so more energy comes to me. But there's always a message before that. I was telling her how I tell you that sometimes I'm being screamed at. It's like this little voice in my head that's like, do it. And I just can't ignore it.
Yeah, that's probably your guardian angel. When you're not listening, they really get in your face.
Yeah.
Or your gut. It could be your gatekeeper, one of the two. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, be still, my foolish heart. Rochelle, now listen. Oh, come on.
It's tough when you're
Depends on the day.
stubborn, when you keep asking, you don't like the answer. It's like, I had my gatekeeper get nose to nose with me once. No, he screamed at me.
Yep. And they do.
He did. He's only spoken to me like 2 or 3 times ever. But that was the first time I ever saw him. He literally got nose to nose with me and screamed in my face, no.
Yes.
And this is
And
Shalina Bell,
Shalina.
and she's going to actually be on next after this show. So,
Yes.
which is great fun. See, now it wasn't anyway. So, yeah, but June, I'm excited to talk to you about all the things that you do, because you work with people to understand. I have to tell you, we had a 15-minute meeting earlier today with a gentleman, and we were talking about energy and vibration and psychic mediumship and life after death and all. And he was like, so are you telling me that is real and it's not a fake? I was with a guru and he said it's full of caca.
Till he dies, then he's going to be like, oh, gee, I was wrong.
And as I was telling Rochelle, is that in my opinion, the day of the guru is dead. And now it's about understanding your heart and what's in your heart and knowing for yourself with the help of someone like June, because a lot of times I imagine, June, I got to ask you, because is it like for them on the other side? Is it like they're sometimes talking to deaf mutes?
It's
They're saying,
frustrating. It's like, I tell it probably, it's like a two-way mirror. They can see you, they can hear you, they can even touch you. And if they can slow their energy down enough, they can move objects. But you can't see them. It's like they're banging on the glass saying, I'm here. Can't you see me? It's very, very frustrating. They want to talk to you more than you want to talk to them. That's a fact.
because they want you to know, correct me if I'm wrong, they want you to know that they're okay and that they're there and they're protecting you, and they want you to feel good and get over the grief of them leaving so that you can live your life to the fullest. Am I close?
All of that, but the reality of it is they haven't changed because they've passed to the other side. They just don't
Thank
have a
God.
body. They're the same person they were here, just without a body. And they're very frustrated. Maybe you're doing something stupid and they don't like it. And they're trying to get it through to you. Don't go out with this guy, or don't let him move in, or, don't get married, or do get married, or whatever. But they have lots of opinions on what you should be doing, just like they did when they were here. And they want to express those. They want to still be part of everything, just as much as you want them to be a part of it. And it's just frustrating for them when you're not recognizing that they are around you.
I lost my brother 4 years ago and my mom 3 years ago, and I tell people that I am not grieving for them because I know where they are.
Yeah.
And I know that they're still in contact with me and that they're around me all the time.
Well, every time you think of them or mention their name, they show up. That's how it works. Very quickly.
And it's almost scary. I tested it, and my grandmas, they were here, and it was almost like, okay, like you don't have to watch my every move, because there was a few days I just kept thinking about both of them, and every single time I was like, they're here, they're watching me. So it's pretty
They're
cool.
around. I mean, sometimes, different signs. My son called me the other night and he's like, Mom, who's Mildred? And I'm like, why? I said, that's my sister that passed. He goes, oh, well, she came to see me. I'm like, oh, that was nice of her. She goes, so did Grandpa. I can still smell the donuts. Oh, it was pretty funny. But sometimes you'll just smell them around you. You'll know they're there. Absolutely know they're there. Yeah.
And June, one of the things that you do, and I really think that it would be so helpful for a lot of people. And by the way, she is going on a cruise. She's going on a cruise. Let's go on a cruise. And she's going to do that here, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But I just love the fact that you help people get in touch with the other side, get in touch with themselves, because so many of us are wandering around. And some people say we're asleep, or they're asleep, and they're just not there, but they're not prepared, I guess. And going to a class with you, and by the way, you're delightful, and we don't even have to tell you that, but learning how to do it with you would be really a fun thing, and then go have shrimp and lobster and all that kind of stuff.
It is kind of fun. I try to make the classes very engaging. It's, you don't just sit there and listen to me. You're actually doing it. And it's interesting because one of the things that I have people do is sit back to back and read each other's minds. And it works. It's really cool. It's really cool.
Isn't that amazing? Now, why is it that people poo-poo it? And like the gentleman we had on earlier, is that really real? I don't think that's really real.
Because they've never done it. It's like, oh, maybe Antarctica doesn't exist, right? Because you've never been there. Maybe it's not really there.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I suppose if you've never been there, it's easy to not recognize it. So, I guess. And by the way, I'm doing something here. Anyway, but June, I want to tell you something because this is important. When you first came on the show, you and Rochelle talked. At that moment in time, she was having lots and lots of different issues, and you helped her with that in a great way. She is. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, I told her as soon as I saw her, I told her she's glowing.
I've been getting that a lot, and it really is so meaningful. I don't know.
It's the high vibration. It's what it is. It's the high vibration. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
And do you have that effect on everybody?
Me? Yeah. I try, not always, but I try.
Well, you're so gifted at it, and you were able to talk to it. Well, I hate to talk for Rochelle. Rochelle, how did she affect you and your life?
Honestly, just tremendously when it came to kind of just allowing, not being afraid of my own energy. I've had a lot of energy since I was little. I've had a lot of gifts I didn't understand. I have messages and things that happen that are completely unexplainable, and I've never really shut it down. I've always known what it was, and I've accepted it. But to be able to understand it and know how to maneuver with it in life, because everything is energy, and a lot of times, even when how I shared with you last time, I go out to the store, go to someone's house, go do something, and I feel this really heaviness to me. And now it doesn't make me feel heavy. I don't allow that in, but I just try to show that some grace, and kind of just let it go back to wherever it was or whoever it is, and just acknowledge it. Really, I didn't realize how powerful just acknowledging something can be, because really that's the same thing with our own thoughts and emotions. Just allowing yourself to be like, okay, I see you, and thank you for letting me know how we feel right now, and then choosing how to maneuver in that, and the responding, not reacting, is huge.
Yeah, you're here to live a 3D existence. You're not the suit, you are the soul inside, but you're always in control. Your actions and reactions are the control that you have in life. That's the only thing you have control over, is your actions and your reactions. So think about what you do, and that shapes the rest of the conversation for you.
And when we come back from this room,
that.
hold on, kiddo. We got to take this break real quick because we're overdue, and they get mad at me when we're overdue. We're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more with June Edward. We're going to talk about her book, and we're going to talk about the cruise. We'll be right back. Are you looking for a powerful way to grow your brand while making a real difference? Well, Positive Talk is the perfect platform to align your message with inspiration, hope, and meaningful conversations. By sponsoring Positive Talk, your brand will reach an engaged audience that values positivity and connection. People who want to support companies that share their values. Take this opportunity to showcase your business in a space that uplifts, inspires, and creates lasting impact. Don't wait. Email me, Kevin at kmmedia.pro today to learn how you can partner with us and spread positivity while growing your brand. And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, and June Edward is our guest, and Rochelle's here, and we just love the work that you do, and the book you've written, All's Fair in Love and Karma. Tell us a little bit about that book, the process that you did to write it, and what it can mean for people.
So the book is the result of a 7-week online program that I created called the Relationship Mastery Program. And what people have to understand is they're in relationship with everyone. You and I are in a relationship right now. You're in a relationship with your friends, your coworkers, your customers, your employees or your employer, the butcher down the street if you go there on a regular basis. So relationships affect everything in your life. And there are 5 lessons that our souls actually have to learn while we're here so that your soul can advance on the other side. And each time you reincarnate and come back, everybody's met maybe a small child and said, oh, look, they're an old soul. They're wise beyond their years. And it all gets down to learning the 5 lessons. And I'll name them quickly, but when you read the book, you'll find that the things that you do are creating the situations in your life. How come you can't hold on to money? How come you keep meeting the same types of people? How come you can't find the one? So it's self-worth, first of all, and that's not value. That's what other people put on you. It's understanding that you're the most important thing, because there's only one of you. And unconditional love, very difficult lesson for a lot of people to learn. People, the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is fear. Know that. So when we live in fear, we actually can't have unconditional love. You have to get rid of that fear. Trust and communication. You have to trust that there is a higher power. You have to trust that you created this plan of your life. And there's nothing that's ever happening to you. It's always happening for you, for your highest and best. Everyone on the other side wants to see you succeed. And communication. You have to be able to communicate your wants and needs to the people around you. We don't know by osmosis. It doesn't work that way. And sex is just another form of communication. If you can't communicate and trust outside the bedroom, you're not going to be able to do it inside the bedroom. Then you have money and balance. Money is actually energy. That's why it's called currency. And it's what we use in this 3D lifetime to show whether or not your life is in balance. Everything in the universe has to stay in balance. That's why you have the yin and the yang, heaven and hell, day and night. And if it's not in balance, the universe is going to step in to put it back in balance. This is why law of attraction is so important, and you have to learn how to balance your energy, or your vibration rises, and if you can't maintain it, you crash and lose everything. So that's all part of what I teach as well. And the last lesson is patience, because we live in a world right now that everybody wants things immediately. It's I want it yesterday, and it doesn't work that way. Things come to you in the time that they're supposed to. You can't force it. You really can't. Whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, it doesn't matter what it is. You can't push on a closed door. You have to wait for the timing and be open to that timing and pay attention so that when that time appears, you're ready for it.
That's interesting, because I have a question for you. Because
Sure.
talking about relationships, I specifically romantic relationships. Now, in my life, I've had many. None of them turned out particularly well, and so consequently,
Wait a minute. I got to stop you there. Aren't you married?
No, I buried her in the
Oh,
backyard.
you're not married. Okay.
If you're the FBI, I'm joking. I did not bury her in the backyard.
So terrible.
I was married to her for 24 years, and it was the best 6 months of my life. But that's the so even that relationship ended poorly. And my high school sweetheart ended, and I have had the karmic thing of having people that I know and know well have taken the person I was dating. This has happened 4 different times. A person that I knew, it took and got together while I was still with them, the person that I was dating, and they ended up with the other person. All of them that I knew, from one was a football player, one was who I worked with, one was and 2 of them I were anyway. So I learned in that period of time that it's like, I don't think that's what I'm supposed to be doing this time. I think I'm supposed to be doing something totally different. What do you
I think a lot of that gets down to self-worth, because when you start putting yourself first, everything is attracted to you. You're not chasing it. It's attracted to you. And you're not going to lose it, because you're magnets. You're either attracting or repelling at any given time. And when you're focusing on yourself and putting yourself first, you become that magnet and you attract. That's the difference.
but I don't want to attract. I'm done
Yeah,
attracting.
Done
no,
attracting.
Kevin. She's telling you to be a little selfish. Can't you just do that?
You have to learn to put yourself first. It's not selfish. It's not narcissistic. It's where everything else comes from. If you don't put yourself first, you're not going to be here for anybody else. It's just that simple. People make that mistake, and I'll bet you were a wonderful husband and put all your wives first, didn't you? I guarantee you did. I can tell that you did. And
Yeah.
that's a big mistake because
So,
you have to put yourself first. It's not selfish. It's where it all starts.
well, see, and that I was never in the relationships I was in. And by the way, several of them were like dating my mother. And I need a psychologist for that one. But because of I have always been a giving person, with the expectation that if I give, you'll give back.
So that's a quid pro quo. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't.
You have to give without expectation. You have to do without expectation. You don't give someone a Christmas gift hoping they're going to give you something back. It doesn't work that way. That's not how it's supposed to be. When you give, you will get, but it's without expectation.
But what happens when you, like my children, when you give them something and they never give it back, they don't even say thank you.
So that's enabling. That's, you're not giving them a hand up, you're giving them a handout. That's the difference.
You're pretty smart. I wish I
Mm.
need to carry you around in my back pocket so that I can, when all this stuff comes up, I can figure it out, because all of that's so true, and stuff. But now I'm perfectly happy doing exactly what I'm doing, and so the heck with all of that. So
Well, that's where it all starts. And if you're happy, you might start attracting again.
well, nowadays, because of COVID and the flu and all this other stuff, one of the rules, I think this is true. Tell me if this is true in the universal laws of karma. If you don't leave your house, it's probable that you're not going to find somebody to meet.
It's highly probable, but you're living in fear if you're doing that, and that's not a good place to live.
Okay,
Yeah,
Rochelle, you
come knock
carry
on your
on.
door. Yeah. I'm always pushing him. I'm always pushing him to go out and do things and share, because the soul inside of Kevin, everybody needs a Kevin. Literally
Yeah.
everybody needs a Kevin. And
Kevin needs to
he
stop
deserves
meditating
to
more
have
and getting
himself.
out of his head and listening to his soul.
That's fine. We'll make enough money in a short period of time that I'm gonna show up at his door. And so if nobody else does, then he'll have to see a face and he'll have to interact. And we'll go do some yoga.
There you go.
And that's, by the way, another Beatles song. I've just seen a face. I can't remember the time or the place. Anyway, so by the way, we've got to mention the cruise again. There's a cruise coming up, and June Edward is the person that you need to go be on the cruise with. And when is it happening? And you better hurry.
It's Saturday, March 1st is when we leave, and it's for 8 days. So if you have the time off, you can always go to last minute booking as well. I've had a couple of people that just went on that and bought tickets for the ship to get on the ship. They're not in our block of cabins, but that's fine. And you can get the tickets for the classes on my website at juneedwood.com as well.
Perfect.
Cool. And by the way, Mr. Gowdy says hello, Brichelle.
Hello, Dad. Thank you for listening. I love you.
How sweet is that?
He's my number one supporter, I swear.
that is so cute. He is a really good dude too. And this is Nick, and he says, June, you're very smart. He's right. You are very smart.
Thank you, Nick.
And so Nick, go get on the cruise. Your website again is
juneedwood.com. It's just my name, juneedwood.com. And there's links to my books on there. You can schedule appointments with me. There's lots of videos you can listen to.
How inventive. Your name.com. That's pretty cool. You've had that for a while, I would imagine.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. We need to take a quick break, and when we come back, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but it's going to be good, whatever it is. So don't go anywhere.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald and Rochelle. Rochelle's right there. She's so good. And I'm so happy that she's with us. June Edward is our guest. And I need to say this real quick. And I know that I would love your opinion on this, June. The reason I play that commercial at the bottom of the hour every time is because I believe that we have the ability as a country, as a people, to not have 4 million kids be homeless and hungry on the streets every day. And we can fix that, because the promise, as it says in the commercial, the promise of a young life that can be destined for greatness if we give them the opportunity and the abilities to do that. Is that true?
So everything in life happens for a reason. That's the first thing. Secondly, everything that's happening in this world right now, it's a huge war of good versus evil. That's what's happening. And, the prize for everyone, God wants your soul, the devil wants your soul. And children, unfortunately, are easy pickings. It's very, very sad what's happening in the world. But you know what? There's a lot of hope. Things are happening very quickly. We've entered the age of Aquarius. Things are going to change very rapidly. In fact, the next 48 hours especially, we have Jupiter squaring Mars right now. So if you thought things were moving fast before, just wait the next couple days. And yes, I think we're going to solve a lot of problems in this world coming up. It's going to be, for the next 20 years, is going to be incredible. It really is. It really is.
So the next 48 hours, I don't know if my heart can take it.
No, I think that's so unique. I love that you mentioned that. I'm an Aquarius, and me and Kevin, we pull cards sometimes just randomly. He gets the urge and gives me a message. And both of the questions, I didn't even tell him what the question was. I just asked. And those cards literally said that everything that you've been feeling coming, it's about to happen, and it's going to happen fast.
Yep. Real fast.
For people going through that, how can we place ourselves to be ready for that right now?
So it's challenging, again, because we're human beings, right? We're souls having a human experience. Even myself. Last night, I've had trouble sleeping the last couple of nights. Last night, I was woken up out of a stupor of a sleep, wasn't a sound sleep, thinking I was going to be hit by a train. And I literally jumped up, literally. And the dream I had before that was somebody shooting a bullet and went all through a whole building. So I had to look up the spiritual meanings of both of those things. And they both have to do with things happening rapidly in your life, change that's coming very, very quickly, that you don't want to resist because it's inevitable. It's supposed to happen. You're supposed to embrace it. But being human beings, when things start to change that quickly, we don't like change as human beings. We like things to stay the same. We like to stay in our own little, sit in our living room, huh, Kevin? We're not,
or my studio.
We're not comfortable with that change. And it's something that you have to get comfortable with. You have to learn how to embrace the change. You have to be open to the change. You have to recognize the change. And you can't fear it. You have to know that it's happening for your highest and best and just allow it. You have to allow these things to come into your life and to do what they're supposed to do and take you where you're supposed to go. This is why we're here. You're here like it's supposed to be a roller coaster ride. Trust me, you're supposed to be enjoying it.
Yeah.
I am. It's the going down in a real hurry part that's the problem.
But then it goes right back up.
Exactly.
As low as it goes, it comes back up. It's got to stay in balance.
Now you're in touch with the other side. I need you to explain something to me.
Sure.
Because I bought this, and it was by divine providence that I got this deck of cards. It is.
I have those.
They're oracle cards, and it is amazing because how is it that not only do they know what card is appropriate for what she's thinking at the moment, how I shuffle them really good. Okay, really well. I'll be using King's English. I shuffle them really well, and I have no earthly idea what's going to happen next. And then, Rochelle, tell her what happens when I pull the cards.
Yeah, there's moments where we both just is silence, you know? It's that like.
So you are just being the vessel. You know, the message is really coming from the other side, coming through you. That's all. You're just the vessel for it.
But how do they? It's like the music. Is it because I know how radio works, and there's a guy who does the programming, and he's sitting in a studio someplace, and he programs a song, and how does the song that I'm thinking about that is important to my next moments or two, how does that song get on the radio right when I turn it on?
Thoughts of things. And, you know, miracles happen all the time, everywhere. You just have to pay attention to it. And to me, that's just another little miracle. It happens for me too. Same thing. I mean, thoughts of things, just like, you know, you said you'd think about somebody and all of a sudden they call or show up. It's because your thoughts are things. That's where your energy goes.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and June, you don't know this, but if you're traveling between Seattle and Tacoma, and you're right about Fife, and you suddenly see a picture of me, of course, you don't know it's me yet, but it'll say Positive Talk Radio, and I'll be on a billboard. What that means cosmically is now you're supposed to find us and donate to the show and listen to the show all the time. So I'm just telling you because they're putting up a billboard. They really are.
Nice. Now you'll be 40 feet tall.
Yeah.
It's the first time I'll be over 6 feet ever, and that would be really good. That would be really good. June Edward is our guest, and go to juneedward.com. There's still room for the cruise. You can go on the cruise. Starts March 1st. Yeah, best hurry, however.
Yes.
And it's great to have you here. We just have such a good time when you're here because you really do get it. And of course, you've been doing this a long time. You're only 27, so you're a year older than
29, but that's okay. Yeah, my kids turned around and told me it was a little awkward that I'm still 29. Maybe I should up it by at least 10.
Yes,
there
indeed.
You go.
I'm so glad. By the way, my kids, I text my kid and said, "So, what do you think about what I do?" And he said, "I have no earthly idea what it is that you do." And it's like, so so I was like, okay, fine. So what's it like when your kids talk to you? Do they get what it is that you do?
So it's interesting. I have 3 boys and they all have ability, but being men, they don't voice it as much because their work situations and things like that. My oldest son really gets it. He senses his mother-in-law in the house all the time. She smokes cigarettes and you can smell the cigarettes when she shows up. She was in my car again the other day. I told him, I said, you know, I know she's just popping in because she's nosy, but she can just go see her daughter. She doesn't have to come see me. My middle son, he was in the military. And when my mom died, And he called me up the next morning. He goes, Mom, he goes, you know, I don't believe anything you do, right? I said, okay, your point. And he goes, well, Grandma came to see me last night. I said, I'm sure she did. You were her favorite. He goes, yeah, she woke me up in the middle of the night. She was standing right next to the bed. I'm like, yep. and my youngest son, he has abilities that they match mine. And he sometimes recognizes that there's a portal open and something coming through even before I see it, quite honestly. And yeah, he's very observant and he's quite the talent.
Love that.
I just have to tell you real quick, my oldest son, when his grandfather on my wife's side passed away, and he was at one time a devout, when you're dead, you're dead. I said, and I said, you mean you don't get to do any? Nope, that's it. When you're dead, you're dead. And then his grandfather died, and he came to me and he said, why was Grandpa at the foot of my bed the other night? And I said, because he's still with you. And he said, you mean there is something else afterward? It was a grand epiphany for him. And I think his grandfather was there saying, no, pal, when you're dead, you ain't dead. And
I've been an atheist on their deathbed, I can tell you that. And I donate my time and I sit with people that are dying, that don't have family. And the closer you get to meeting your maker, as they say, the more you see from the other side, because you're more connected to your soul at that point and you're out of your head. So you're not living in that fear. And that's the difference. When you get rid of the fear, you can see everything that's around you.
You know, it's the most interesting thing that because of the work that I've done, and this goes all the way back to like 2000, when my dad passed away, and he was in ICU. Paint a picture for you. He'd had lung surgery because he had cancer. Anyway, and he had a stroke, and so he was in intensive care. His right arm, he could move his arm, but he couldn't move his hand. He couldn't speak. He could not swallow. And so he was lying there. My sister, and she verifies this, my sister was sitting right next to him, and he looks up at the corner of the room. We look up. He wasn't looking at the TV, which was over here. He was looking over here. There was nothing there. There was a corner of the room.
You could see.
Yeah.
And my sister got down to where he was and looked up and said, what is it you see, Dad? Now, he was incoherent at this moment because he wasn't communicating with us, and he was partially paralyzed. He couldn't swallow and all of that. But he was having a communication with somebody, and he raised his arm to above shoulder level, pointing at that spot in the ceiling. And I knew inherently that was either his mom or his dad or another close friend was coming to fetch him
Exactly.
Because he died 3 days ago.
Yeah. And when I go to the hospital and there's someone that's passing that doesn't have any family, they're mostly incoherent, but I can talk to them, through mental telepathy and explain to them who's in the room, and that they shouldn't be afraid, and that they should go into the light and not stay here in this withered body in pain, and how beautiful it is on the other side. And usually, they agree to pass within an hour, which is nice. They're not lying there for days in pain.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I had the opportunity at one point. It was just my dad and me in the hospital room. And I said, Dad, it's okay. You go now. I hate to see you looking like this, and you're not happy, and he couldn't even swallow, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, it's not a good situation. But a lot of them will lie there because they're in fear. I remember when my dad was dying and he had cancer, and I'd go see him every couple of days. And one day I went to see him, and he says, he used to make a joke about my mediumship. And he says, I want to talk to you about what you do. And I'm like, oh, really? That's interesting. What would you like to know? And he says, I want to know why every morning when I wake up, my mom is standing next to my bed. I said, well, Dad, she's going to help you go into the light and make sure you go into the light when you pass, so you're not stuck here. He goes, well, that's not really what I want to know. I said, well, what do you want to know? So I want to know why. I said, I want to know why that, she disappears after 5 or 10 seconds. I said, Dad, she doesn't. She's still standing right next to me. But because your brain kicks in fear, you can't see her, but she's still here. If you can, and as the closer you get to dying, the less you're in your head in fear, the more you start seeing the souls that are in your room that are there to bring you to the other side. And my Archangel Michael is always there because he brings everyone to the other side.
Here we go again, because we were doing a card exercise, and I pulled the card, and Archangel Michael showed up, and so we read the card, and that was appropriate. And then I put down the cards, and then we shuffled them again. I shuffled them again, pulled the 2 cards, and he showed up again.
He's trying to get the message across.
Yeah, it's that screaming. It's that screaming.
Yes,
it's like, hello, are you going to listen?
Yes, exactly.
I tell you, we have, and it's just remarkable. June Edward is with us. Go to her website. Go book the cruise. I got to tell you, you get her undivided attention for 6 days, and
seven nights, 8 days.
You can go out and have lunch and cocktails and see a show. Just don't get that card where they gamble. That you could.
At least if you're like Kevin, don't do that.
Yeah, because I give money. Anyway, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin McDonald. Right there is Rochelle. She only has one name because she only needs one name. She's perfect
it's like
in everything. Cher, Madonna, and June Edwards is our guest. And June, I got to tell you, we could just sit here and talk to you for hours. And so I don't want to monopolize it. Rochelle, monopolize it for a little bit. You ask her what you want to know.
Honestly, just while we've been having this conversation, thinking about the experiences I've had, people to tell my grandma, she had this moment where she wasn't there, but she was trying to talk to me. She was trying to communicate. She was just staring at me. And I looked at her. I told her, Grandma, I will always love you, and I know you'll always be with me. You can go. And she did. She actually did within those few hours. It's crazy how the difference of somebody who is not scared of death, somebody who's willing to go. They know what it's like on the other side, and they know what they kind of have to expect. And then there's the people that don't really have that. And I love how you work with people in hospitals. Like I'm thinking to myself, if I really were to dive deep and I wanted to be there for somebody in moments that were the most important, it'd be those moments. And I had a question come into my head. What is one thing that someone has been able to tell you before you helped them cross over that has stuck with you through your journey?
Nothing really comes to mind. What I found is a lot of them still have fear. So I have to explain to them that I've been in the light, I've died, I've come back, I know what it's like. It's beautiful. It's amazing. A lot of them are still stuck with whatever there is they've learned here. The last gentleman that I was with that passed, I knew immediately when I got there that he was very religious. So I started playing some music on my phone for him. I was playing religious hymns and music, and he really appreciated that. I could tell he really enjoyed it. And I was explaining it to him that he needs to go, and that Archangel Michael was in the room, and that his mom was in the room, And he had a cousin that was in the room and some friends that were in the room, and they were all there to bring him into the light so he doesn't get stuck here. And his comment to me was, I'm not going until Jesus gets here. I'm like, okay, he doesn't usually come to help people pass, but we can bring him. And I called on Jesus to come. And as soon as he showed up, they all went into the light. Within minutes,
Wow.
he passed. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it kind of does have to do with definitely the comfortability. There may be just that one person that I think we all would want to be there.
Yeah. They just have to be comfortable enough to know that this is where they're going. They're going into the light, and that's who they're with. And everybody's a little bit different as to who they're going to go with, and understand that. But yeah, it's wonderful.
That is beautiful. I love that you do that, and someday I hope to be the person that also does that, because that is the moment.
The organization is called No One Dies Alone, NODA, and it's actually worldwide, so that no one dies alone.
Okay.
And some of them have family, but the family doesn't choose to be with them, or the family is too far away, can't be with them. And some of them don't have family. Yeah.
See, from my perspective is that even if because I live alone, and I thought about that there's a possibility that I could fall and hurt myself, and I'm alone and I can't get to the phone or whatever it is, and that you're by yourself in your last moments, but you're never by yourself.
No, but there's a lot of people, if you're in the hospital, that they're afraid. And when you're alone and afraid, this whole program was started because there was a nurse in the emergency room, and there was a patient that was dying, and she kept crying out to her, please don't leave me alone. I'm afraid. Please don't leave me alone. And the nurse is like, I have to go take care of the other patients. And she wasn't able to stay with this poor woman, and she ended up dying alone.
But she wasn't alone.
Well, I'm glad not completely.
They aren't, but it's still frightening for them if they don't understand what's happening. And a lot of them don't go into the light for different reasons, because they think they're going to be punished, or they don't know what's in the light. And that's the problem. And that's what you want. You want to be there and help them into the light. That's the whole reason that your relatives come here, to help you go to the other side, is so that they make sure you go into the light and don't get stuck here.
Okay. And I know we're running short on time, but I have to ask you this one last question.
Sure.
When somebody does pass and there's something that they really want you to know, but you are not available for that message, what can just the average person do to give that acknowledgement and the permission for them to come forward and try to give them some sort of message?
Well, they can always book a session with me, and I can be the medium. And that's what medium means. I'm in the middle, and the person on the other side is here, and you're here, and I can get those messages through, and you can ask any questions that you want. I've had anything you can imagine asked. I had somebody come and want to know where the key to the safe deposit box was. They got the answer, but they didn't like it.
So, and by the way, while you're still here, I just wanted to, and I know that I can do this myself, but just to verify, say hello to my dad for me, will you?
Oh, you can yourself. He's right behind you there. He's been standing behind you since the beginning of the show.
He's with me all the time.
Yeah, pretty much. Because you always talk about him. He's got nowhere to go.
Well, but the thing is, and this is important for me, because he didn't buy any of this stuff. He didn't
he's
buy
got a
religion.
great sense of humor. He's got a great sense of humor, I have to tell you.
Where do you think I'd like to think I could. But I mean, he didn't buy any of this stuff. So when he's there, he can say, okay, I get it. And now and he really is working to make it a difference in everything that I do. And he's, I feel he's very proud.
He is very proud of you. Very proud. Yep.
We do. We talk about him every day when we do our interviews.
Is. I mean, every time I see you, he's with you. He's behind you every time I see you on the show.
He's not with me all the time, is he?
No, just when you're on the show.
Okay. That's one of the things and we're going to run out of time. But one of the things is they don't care. Even though they're with us all the time, they don't care about your bedroom habits. They don't care about your bathroom habits. That's not why they're around, right?
That was the big joke. I had one show up in the shower one day, right? Yeah.
I've had that happen, actually.
Yeah. So you set the parameters. My guide knows that then they can't come through unless it's an emergency. And it was an emergency. So she showed up in my shower. It was an old friend whose husband was in dire straits. Yeah.
Wow.
But they don't care. They're not looking at you in the shower. They don't care.
Well, isn't it? It's kind to me. No, they understand the physical process. They understand that you eat, you pee, you poop. Everybody does. That's just kind of the way it is. It's kind of like when you take your dog out for a walk. This is how I view it. Tell me if I need medication. But you take your dog out for a walk, and your dog goes pee, no big deal. Your dog goes poop, no big deal. Your dog goes and humps another dog, a little bit more of a big deal. But you don't view it like some big thing. It's just biology.
It is. It's very different when you're on the other side. This is just, it's life. It's just life. That's it.
Yeah. So, and by the way, I want to thank you for being here again. All's Fair in Love and Karma is the book. The cruise is March 1st. Go to our website, which is JuneEdward.com, right, Rochelle?
Yes, that is correct. And go get all the information that you need. Really get curious. And learn about yourself, really, because June is an incredible woman to help you start to integrate what you want to be and who that is and why that is. So get curious with yourself. Go take a look at the website and push yourself out of your comfort zone. Go on a cruise. Maybe I'll too.
And by the way, is Rochelle's grandmother standing behind her?
I did not see her.
A lot of people with
I did
me.
not see her, but yeah, she does have a lot of people behind her. I wouldn't know, quite honestly, if it was her grandmother, because I don't know her grandmother. I'd have to describe her to her, and she'd have to confirm that it is. But most of the people that are behind you are much younger. Although it doesn't mean it's not your grandmother, because they can come through any way they want to look. They don't have a body, My mother comes through at the age of 19 or 20, and she died at 93. So
that's incredible. Honestly, when I tell people that my grandma she looks like her healthiest version of her. You're like, what does that mean? Well, go look it up.
Mine comes through on roller skates.
But Rochelle's got a whole entourage around her.
She does. She has quite a few people behind her. Yeah.
Would you tell them?
A lot of people, but I'm supported.
Yeah, a lot of people do. It's like when I do readings for people, suddenly there's 1,000 people on a semicircle. It's a lot of people sometimes. Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
It's amazing.
That everybody has our back. And you know what? And tell me, I believe this to be true, is that this is a very hard place to be. We are very special beings for being able to be on the earth. Because it's very dense.
It's not supposed to be a hard place to be. We come here for a mini vacation to learn these lessons and get some enjoyment. And people forget that. We do it to ourselves because everything in life is perspective. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yep.
It really doesn't, very Kevin. True. It's all perspective. You're supposed to be enjoying this ride. It's a very short ride.
It is.
You know what? I'm learning as I get older that the shortness of the ride is shorter in retrospect than it is looking forward. Like Rochelle's a lot younger. In 50 years, she'll be close to my age. And she's in 50 years. That's a lot.
Goes really quick.
But it sure went by in a hurry. I got to tell you.
Goes really,
don't
really
scare
fast.
me. I'm gonna take my time.
Enjoy it. Enjoy everything they present you. We forget to stop and smell the roses, smell the flowers, see the birds and listen to the song. We forget to do this because we get caught up in the rat race. We do that to ourselves. You have no one to blame but yourself. You have to really get out there and enjoy your life.
So don't blame yourself. Enjoy life and have fun with it.
Yep.
That's right.
And Rochelle, we've got to go, but what's your website again?
JuneEdward.com.
And why
Everybody
should
go
you go?
there.
This is a test. Why should you go there?
To learn about mediumship, to learn about relationships, and possibly go on a cruise.
Absolutely.
And the book. Go
And
take
the
a
book.
look at that book.
Get the book. You like the book. And John and June, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you both for having me. It was great to see you again.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin at kmmedia.pro.